Personally, I hope Nux gets canceled just so I'm on the podcast, because I should replace him, honestly. I would be better. So, Nux Taku, which should be me. Honestly, kick Caleb too and kick Mudahar. It should just be the Some Ordinary podcast, but it should be me as the only host and no guest, and I should just be able to talk for an hour and make money. Alright, so as you guys know, Nux Taku's been getting a lot of recently for a number of reasons, okay? So first we had this clip. People were looking through anyone who's ever interacted with Shadman, so we had this clip. It says, it seems Nux Taku had multiple private conversations with Shadman throughout 2021. Curious, he lists a source, and here we have a clip of Nux talking about it, so let's see this.
So Shadman takes Lolly to another level. So Shadman is a Nazi-ish fellow. Shadman didn't just draw. Shadman drew of real-life people. Like, Keemstar's 10-year-old daughter got drawn by this guy in sexual art. And that is up. That is insanely up. Holy. Now, Keemstar is my best friend, which is why I'm extra mortified about all of this. Oh, God, I don't want to know how Chris was associated with this guy. There's some really... So, I was talking to Shadman. That's a weird, yeah. And,
that's a way to start a sentence.
That's a way to start a sentence. And he has some interesting takes on Gardevoir.
He can keep them. I don't think I need to hear them.
Yeah, they're weird. Dude, honestly, it was the weirdest conversation I've ever had in my life. Like, through DMs. I didn't speak to him, like, voice, but it was the weirdest conversation I've ever had in my life.
I don't think you could have a normal conversation with a guy like Shadman.
Oh, my lord. Shadman. Oh, my God. I'm scrolling through the DMs. There are a few things that he said that were interesting. And he also says each word in, like, a different message.
Oh, he's one of those,
multiple text guys? Oh my god, me neither. Games are too corny. Sure, it's good, but games are just corny to me. So I'm not a gamer. I'm like Sans, because I spent 11 hours beating him on stream when I was...
So he's reading out the interaction here, essentially. You see that he had with Shadman, so there's that. And then Nux ended up responding on Twitter, and he said, Shadman DM'd me weird shit out of the blue, and I made fun of him for it many times in videos and on the podcast as seen in the clip. I'd never commissioned or promoted or been friends with him, but never hidden that fact. Framing this as a relationship is very disingenuous. So then this tweet comes up where it looks like Shadman says, a bit too middle school. And Nux says, want to collab? Shadman says, Lamau, no, but your heart's in the right place. Nux says, understandable, have a nice day. I'm here when you come around. And Nux here says, people saying I'm a liar because of these tweets. Aside from not knowing about the extent of this, I'd collab with all sorts of scum. Most of my collabs are trolling, and I was going to grill him. I'd interview EDP. I'd never commissioned or promoted or been friends with him. Let's see here. Good faith question, hoping you can clarify. So you didn't know the extent of his then, but you're willing to grill him at the same time. If you did get the collab, what would you grill Shad on? From what I remember, he was the mostly known as the guy who drew minors sexually. You didn't know that. Next says, I knew about the lolly stuff and some of his art, like the bestiality of fictional children. Definitely enough to still grill the guy. I didn't know about Keemstar's daughter. I feel like that's the less important part of my tweet. So we have that. And then with all that being brought up, people are still calling out Nux Taku quite a bit. He's getting a lot of for it, and at some point it looked like this clip came out from Chud Logic stream where Mudahar said that the Some Ordinary podcast I've been on I think 3 or 4 times, he said that it was kind of being ended partially because of the Shad stuff. Let's see this.
Podcast is done. Yeah, podcast is done now.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the podcast is over. We are not filming the last episode. It's over.
Is that are you serious?
Yeah, we're not doing the podcast anymore. It's done.
Why?
We're supposed to film on Tuesday. Well, there's a couple reasons for it. A lot of that was obviously some of the Shad stuff too, because we were kind of sitting there. We're like, me and Caleb, we were just like, this is, I don't know, it's weird. The other thing was we just want to redo things, maybe like 2 months down the road or something.
So he said there's like 2 reasons. One of them is the weird shit about Mudahar, or sorry, about Nux, and one of them is some other reason. Chud Logic spreading misinfo, though. Nux and Mudahar clarified things. How did Chud spread misinfo, though? I mean, Mudahar said in this clip it was because of the Shadman thing. Like, you can just listen to this.
Is that are you serious?
Yeah, we're not doing the podcast anymore. It's done.
Why?
He says why.
We're supposed to film on Tuesday. Well, there's a couple reasons for it. A lot of that was obviously some of the Shad stuff, too, because we were kind of sitting there.
So he says it's partially because of the Shad stuff, right? So that happened, but now there's this new, Mudahar responded here. So for context, podcast ending for a lot of behind-the-scenes structuring. I'll provide more details about the matter as it unfolds. Nothing to do with the relationship with Nux. I'm confused by this in tandem with, like, this doesn't really make sense, right? Smago said, I sent you the longer clip in DMs. Okay.
Shadman is like the last 6 days. There's been a mega leak of everyone's interactions, like Elvis the Alien, Nux, everyone. So it's like I don't know the extent of it, but obviously it's a disavowal if he ever obviously wanted to collaborate with him in a meaningful way or like defend him or something, you know?
Yeah, sure. And,
Um,
obviously, I
and
don't want to like super hardcore hold you to account
yeah,
for someone else's actions.
and I also just want to say I don't ever would believe that Nux would have no idea about the Shadman child lolly drawing stuff. Like that would make no sense. He's been in this space long enough to know better. So if
Sure.
this was
Okay.
like a genuine interaction, like I have no doubt as somebody that is in the anime culture to not have any clue that Shadman was doing crazy shit. Like you'd have no if I knew that Shadman was drawing kids and doing crazy shit, Nux definitely did, and that's never okay.
Okay. Are you going to keep him off the podcast?
No, we would cancel the podcast. It's not happening. The podcast
Dude,
is done.
this is hard because obviously, people want me to
Podcast
fucking...
is done. Yeah, podcast is done now.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the podcast is over. We are not filming the last episode. It's over.
Is that Are you serious?
Yeah, we're not doing the podcast anymore. It's done.
Why?
We're supposed to film on Tuesday. Well, there's a couple reasons for it. A lot of that was obviously some of the Shad stuff too, because we were kind of sitting there. We're like, me and Caleb, we were just like, this is, I don't know, it's weird. The other thing was we just want to redo things, maybe like 2 months down the road or something, between each other, and that's kind of where we're at.
I mean, he clearly said here was partially because of that, right? Am I schizo? I think I was the last guest on that podcast actually, but now Nux Taku has posted he's posted a public response, I believe. It's on a different channel. Hold on. Nuxanor. Okay. The Chris Tyson situation just exposed everyone featuring Mudahar. So this video is apparently about this, okay? Now to be clear, Nux Taku messaged me about this video, asking my thoughts before it was public. And essentially what I said was that, because I hadn't seen the whole video, I was like, you need to 100% apologize for, interacting with Shadman in any positive way and even like implicitly validating his existence. And you should also outline specifically what Shadman has done. I think you need to do that. So yeah, that's basically what I said. So now we're gonna watch this and see what he said.
Yo, back from vacation. Oh, it's been a relaxing journey, sort of, kind of, not so much really, to be honest. But, you've never really made it as a real YouTuber. If there aren't false allegations made against you, that doesn't involve Mr. Beast, if it doesn't involve Keemstar, and if it doesn't involve getting canceled by association with people that some other people do not like. It's a pretty wild ride. I'm friends with a lot of gun tubers, so I don't know what I should have expected, but being that this is probably in the top 2 drive.
This is such a long video. Where's the part that I should care about? Does anyone know? Does he say the word sorry or apologize? Okay, so here we go. Here we have this one.
Anyway, it gets wilder, so I do respond to Keem. I say, I'm so sorry I had to go through all this, and I legitimately am. I'm so sorry that Keem had to suffer at the hands of this monster for so long. You have every right to be furious with the people that supported Shadman. I was never one of those people. Literally, you got the freaking mega thread of people with genuine interactions that supported him, that took pictures with him, that collabed with him, that tried to get his website back up. I was never one of those. The thumbnail was on a video about,
I mean, in fairness, he did ask for a collab, right?
freaking Furrymon Pokemon song. So, dude, I'm sorry I'm giving many examples. I can give you another 20 examples, but this was literally my content at the time. My content at the time was bringing people into calls to essentially troll them, all right, for lack of better terms. Probably my favorite example of a super obvious troll that I did at some point. So,
I don't think it, from what I've seen, I doubt that Nux liked what he was doing, but if you're gonna have that guy in a video, you should probably talk about it.
Up to Keem why he didn't expect a Belle Delphine apology. Keem's response was, actually, I had no idea that Belle Delphine had any involvement with it.
The collab reply seems sarcastic, but I don't know if I'd even joke about that with a guy like Shadman. I mean, it does seem sarcastic, but Nux also said he would collab with anyone. I think it's fine to collab with anyone. Like, Oompaville did an interview with Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate's a pretty horrible human being. I don't really care that he collabed with him, right? But realistically, if it comes out you're kind of making this guy look good, who turns out to be like a head, like I feel like you should say that, right? In my opinion, I don't want to like cancel Nux Taku, you know what I mean? But let's see what Mudahar said here, because he had Mudahar in this video.
But it literally does have nothing to do with Shadman.
Hey everybody, Muda here, and I just wanted to make it as clear as possible. This podcast is not over because of Nux and his situation currently. Ladies and gentlemen, a couple days ago at this point,
Nux called out Keemstar for inviting Belle Delphine to Happy Punch last year, even though she cosplayed as Shadman. Did she cosplay as Shadman in Keemstar's presence?
I was on a podcast, or not a podcast, but I was on a live stream with a creator known as Chud Logic, and I wasn't exactly clear.
He was literally just wanting Shad to be on to troll him, even when people liked him. Okay.
Here as to the ending of the podcast, which really is an ending. Let me be more clear with you. The timing of this is actually purely coincidental, like you see on all those disclaimers for any movie or television show you're watching or video game that you're playing. No, in reality, what actually happened is me and Caleb, we have our own kind of thing over here that, ultimately behind the scenes, the podcast and
Not in Keem's presence? Okay.
rather the ownership of it and the structure of it is something that we're actually working on again. I actually went out and flew out about a week and a half ago with Caleb, and we filmed a lot of IRL stuff, and we kind of had
Yeah, I was there.
our own sort of idea as to what the podcast should really be. If you haven't noticed, the weekly podcast, some of the episodes might have been a little bit phoned in. There was a lot of rambling, so me and Caleb and Nux have basically decided that it's better to restructure the podcast, basically have ownership ourselves.
The thing is, I do believe this. This would have been like the most severe misspeak ever if this wasn't the case.
And to the point of actually...
Because, I mean, on this, he said...
We're okay.
Okay. Are you going to keep him off the podcast?
No, we would cancel the podcast. It's not happening. The podcast is done.
This is hard because obviously, people want me to
Podcast
fucking...
is done, yeah. Podcast is done now.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the podcast is over. We are not filming the last episode. It's over.
Is that Are you serious?
Yeah, we're not doing the podcast anymore. It's done.
Why?
We're supposed to film on Tuesday. Well, there's a couple reasons for it. A lot of that was obviously some of the Shad stuff too, because we were kind of sitting there. We're like, me and Caleb, we were just like, this is, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe he was feeling the public heat and pressure at the time. He wanted to say that, but it just feels like this is not true.
Making a set, so we do more
He definitely said it here, right?
IRL stuff. So a lot of it is really set on, building a set. I'm flying down to Texas more often.
Personally, I hope Nux gets canceled just so I'm on the podcast, because I should replace him, honestly. I would be better. So, Nux Taku, which would be me. Honestly, kick Caleb too and kick Moodhar. It should just be the Some Ordinary podcast, but it should be me as the only host and no guest, and I should just be able to talk for an hour and make money. That's what I think should happen.
Hopefully down the road to be filming IRL and doing the podcast with Caleb, more so like you would see with typical like IRL style podcasts where you can actually do the hosts on camera sitting next to each other, and one where we don't necessarily even need to have a guest like every week, try to figure out how to get Nux on the entire show, being the fact that he lives in an NFT land and an NFT world, so to get him onto the actual podcast is another challenge itself. So it's really something where we're taking some time to stop the podcast.
So I want to poach viewers. Yes, I want to steal them from every commentary channel. I will have all the viewers. They will be mine.
Restructure and
right.
possibly rebrand it and get the ownership directly under all three of us, which is something we didn't necessarily have with the Some Ordinary podcast. So I hope that clears things up. The timing was purely coincidental, and obviously I would love to work with Nux and Caleb again and get this podcast more structured in a way that we really want to push out, especially with the quality that we imagine and, just the style that we want to bring. So hopefully that cleared things up, and I'm going to leave it right back to my friend.
I don't know. Still a little confused.
But anyway, the point is, people going crazy in the quote retweets back on my original tweet when I said they not like us in regards to Chris Tyson, stuff like this, 43,000 likes, basically calling me a for no reason. Nux, you are a lolicon defender, which is ironic because I was literally in drama like a year and a half ago because I do not like. And then the anime community came for me because I do not like.
Here we go.
Anyone would assume that I would do a Shadman video, possibly as some sort of promotion work and not to grill the guy. All that said, I do want to apologize though for not researching the thoroughly enough before asking him to collab. I should have been better, and I will be better in the future. He drew of an actual child, and no amount of memeing and trolling makes it okay to associate with an actual monster like Shadman. Now, Keem has continued this.
Well, that's good. It's good he owned up to it. I like that. Maybe he didn't know. An actual monster. I mean, Shadman is an actual monster. I would agree with that. It doesn't sound serious. It sounded serious enough for me. Are you seriously believing him? Jay, why should I not believe him? I feel like if he has any moral compass at all, he would feel bad for that. I'd be willing to believe that he knew that Shad was drawing Lolly. but maybe he didn't know about the fact that Shad was drawing real children. Watches collab videos. He doesn't grill the guests. I was in one of those, and I guess I didn't get grilled. He just showed me some weird anime, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe he wasn't going to grill him. You could be right about that, Jay. The most surprising thing to me, and the reason that I'm willing to give him any leeway, is because when my video about Shadman came out, seemingly nobody knew that he drew Daphne Keene. Like, not a single person in the comment section. Like, some of them knew Shad was edgier, drew Lolly. They didn't know that he drew a real child. So I guess from my perspective, that's why I would give him some leeway. Do you see Diorio accusing you of being working for another YouTubers from the left? Yeah, he's completely right with that. You guys probably saw this tweet, right? This is, you know, some people say it's conspiracy. Some people say it's fake. I'm here to say that it's 1,000% real. You can see Turkey Tom's being employed by some very well-known leftist YouTubers. He's working behind the scenes for them in exchange for Tom not releasing compromat that he collected on them over the years. I'd urge you to investigate it. This is 1,000% true. I am covering the compromat for the communist YouTuber. This is true. Completely true. 1,000%. There's no doubt.